What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? What up, America? What's going on once again? Woo! Listen. The show is about to go to a whole nother level in these next ensuing weeks. Why? Because the football season is over, and now we all get to put our money where our mouth is. Ladies and gentlemen, it is playoff time. Brooklyn Bears and Ball Sports Show, one of the finest and baddest sports shows in the earth. Yo, listen, we doing our thing. It's Dard, it's Rod, and we are here. Listen, it's playoff time. We're going to talk about the Week 17 games. We're going to do a little bit of preview probably going into the playoff thing, but we're going to talk about what happened, though, okay, and how we got the alignment of games that we got coming up. But before we get into all this good stuff, listen, we need you to like, we need you to share. We need you on YouTube. We need you on Facebook. Appreciate the love y'all been giving us, you know what I'm saying? It's been love all the way through. We appreciate the comments, hitting that notification button on YouTube, making sure that all content comes through. There it is right there. Subscribe. All right, because we appreciate the follows, the loves, the likes, and all of the comments and the things that y'all putting in there, man. And listen, as you can see right now, it's just the two of us here. As y'all know, we've been having our resident boy from Philly representing the Eagles, but right now he's missing. We don't know. There's an APB out for him right now. We don't know where he is. We're trying to find our boy Scrap. Scrap's been on the show since like week 9, and he's been representing, you know what I'm saying? And he got some real counseling this time. Poor guy. Yeah, we were ready to counsel him, both of us, actually. I think he would have gotten, a little double joint here, you know what I'm saying? Between me and Dom, we'd have been able to guide him through this sad time here, James. But nevertheless, we're going to do our thing as we do, and we're going to hold our boy Scrap up in prayer, you know what I'm saying? But Dom, man, what's good with you, bro? It's still your world, man. Number 1 seed. I'm going to call you number 1 seed. Should I call you number 1 seed for the rest of the
No.
Don't do that.
I'm not interested in any of that.
Okay.
Listen, I'm going to tell you, we got a lot to discuss. We got to talk about how the playoffs and everything came into form. And for fans that are fanatical, it might be a little disappointing, or it might be a little.
Yeah, this is gonna bother me. This is gonna hurt me.
This is gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt the fans. This is gonna hurt the people who blindly think that sports and everything, just the best team wins and everything just plays out based on how it's playing, and there's no orchestration. But we got a lot to talk about. It's gonna be an exciting show.
Yes, it is.
And yeah, man. Shouts out to Scrap, man. Hope you're doing better, man.
Yeah,
Wherever
man.
Wherever you are,
bro.
We're holding you up, man.
Holding you up. No doubt, man. Appreciate you, Scrap.
But without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so week 18 is done. All of the playoffs. Well, playoffs are pretty much everybody knows what they're doing, right? We know who's playing who, where, who's going, seeding, everything is been figured out.
Yep.
I'll say this. We have a few games that we're going to discuss, but I also want to just say something real quick about how smart the NFL is. NFL is a very, very smart entity. They know how to keep fan bases engaged. They know how to keep fan bases on the edge of their seat. And then teams that are out of it, they know how to show them or give them glimpses of hope for the next year. And that's very smart. That's a very smart business model, if you ask me. Yeah. So I say all that to say this. Okay, so week 17, there were some games that we just were head scratchers, right? We couldn't figure out why teams were playing the way that they were playing. Why Detroit, for example, would go for 2 points to be aggressive and win the game.
Right.
After penalty, the element of surprise is gone. All of that stuff is out the window. And they wind up losing the game.
Right.
The NFL, I think things are orchestrated because now, if they had played smart, they could have potentially been the number 2 seed, right? But had they been the number 2 seed, potentially even, I think they had a shot even at the number 2 seed. But had they done that, they wouldn't have played Matt Stafford. And what's a bigger draw? What's a bigger game than Matt Stafford playing Detroit?
Yeah, coming back home to Detroit.
Back home.
Yeah.
Goff, is now they casted
the guy
Goff,
who was traded
casted Goff to Detroit
Mm-hmm.
Because he couldn't get it done. Matthew Stafford goes to LA, wins the first year. Okay.
Yeah.
That's one. What other game are we scratching our heads about? So after Dan Campbell does the ridiculous stuff to blow the game, clearly give the game to Dallas, the next week, which is a meaningless game after you lose, it's a meaningless game. You have nothing to play for. You are risking your players. If you're really interested in making a deep run into the playoffs, you're risking your players that you would need for a playoff run. Sam Laporta gets an injury.
Right.
You're risking Jared Goff, Sam Laporta. Who else?
Who was a casualty?
Your running backs.
You got Amon St. Brown. You got
Amon St. Brown.
Yeah. You got
Montgomery. Montgomery, Gibbs. Why would you risk those players?
Mm-hmm.
Last week, the game that was in your grasp was the game that you should have laid it all out on. Not a meaningless game that all you could stand to lose was players and injuries. So that's the first thing. But let's and I'll say this. Unfortunately, the Niners played a part in that too. The Niners played a part in that ridiculous, because I'm going to be honest. Can the Niners, who have owned the Rams, fully intact, own the Rams, could they have beaten the Rams yesterday? But see, if they beat the Rams, then the Rams don't play. They don't play,
Detroit.
They don't play Detroit.
Yeah. So
it's unfortunate. I hate to start the show off with the a dose of honesty and truth.
Of Donspiracy, yeah.
No. I mean, listen, there are some okay, and think about this: Miami has an opportunity to win a game, right? Forget the division, right? But how does everything align? Miami is coasting to the AFC East. Yes, they sustained a lot of injuries, but the question is, if you're losing by 30 points, why would you have your players in the game? The division was still in hand.
Sure.
You still had an opportunity to win the division.
Sure.
So you once again put it out all on the line for a meaningless game, a game that you already were losing, to do what?
Right.
The following week, when you really needed Chubb and all these other players.
Yeah, they could have made a difference yesterday.
They could have made a difference because Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills were trying to hand that game to you.
They were.
And so what's interesting is the player, everybody likes Mike McDaniel. He's probably he's one of the cooler younger coaches, right? And those kind of responses in the press conference when you're asking him questions and he's eccentric, all of that is well and good when you're winning. But when you're losing, all of that, cosmos and deep answers, it should be frustrating and should be making the Miami fan base very angry.
Absolutely.
Because those are winnable games that you guys, I know you got Waddle was out. I know you have different injuries, but some of those injuries were self-inflicted because you kept a player in too long after the game was already lost. What do you say?
No, I'm going to say this. Don, that's a great take. I'm glad you opened up with that because, and if you don't mind me just advancing my comment a little bit, I want to translate that to even the Eagles for that matter, right? And a lot of these coaches want to play to the culture. They want to play to the fandom. But that's where you mess up. And that's where you understand the big boy coaches versus these coaches that just want to get praise and acceptance from their city, right? Like Dan Campbell has to prove that, I'm biting kneecaps and we're going to punch him in and we're going to do, right? And showing toughness by keeping your players out there unnecessarily, right? And what happens? You end up hurting the fan base. Like that's not what the fan base wants. Like I understand you got a blue collar city and the whole nine. I get it, but that's not, at the end of the day, your fan base wants to win. They want you to be smart. Like I was looking at something the other day. I see Sirianni. This is back when, of course, when the Eagles was Fly Eagles Fly, right? Which seems so long ago. They had their T-shirt. What Sirianni's got his T-shirt on, right? In practice, beat Dallas, right? Now, see, to me, that's you playing to the fan base, right? What's the purpose of doing that? Now look at you, right? You and I'm gonna save some of my commentary on that for a little bit later. But the thing is, you want to play to the fan base and want to be accepted, right? That's all nice and good, and you can relate. But at the end of the day, you got to coach, which is something you're not doing very well. And the truth of the matter is, I can understand players doing that, right? You saw Kittles with the bleep Dallas shirt when he lifted up in the end zone, right? But you wouldn't see Shanahan wear that, right? Shanahan wouldn't do that because there's another level to this, right? Mike McDaniels looking cool on the sideline with the, no socks and the high water pants and all that. Great. And I'm not saying that these guys aren't good coaches, but at the end of the day, when you keep playing to the fan base and then you're losing, that coolness goes away. Like nobody wants to hear that. And I'm going to talk about some comments Sirianni said, in regards to this loss yesterday, that as far as I'm concerned, and I know without a shadow of a doubt, and I heard some of the comments coming out of Philly on their radio station, it's unacceptable to say the least. So these guys that want to do this kind of stuff, these coaches, it makes no sense to me. Just go ahead and coach. At the end of the day, your fan base wants you to win. They don't care about you trying to relate. They want you to win. Parcells wasn't relatable, right? Walsh and Landry or Don Shula and Chuck Noll and Mike Tomlin and Cower and Joe Gibbs and, George Seifert and all these other guys, Jimmy Johnson, they weren't trying to relate.
Yeah.
Andy Reid, they weren't trying to relate. They're trying to win. They don't care. They out of shape. These guys is just on the sideline. They're not trying to really be like down with the crew. They're trying to coach these guys so that they can win. And they'll leave some of that petulant behavior to the players. But let the coaches got to stand above the fray. And at the end of the day, this is all about results, bro. And some of these coaches ain't getting it. But bad move by Campbell on that. Made no sense to play his starters yesterday. That game, for all intents and purposes, are done. I mean, yes, there was some concern about Dallas losing, but at the end of the day, you had to know Dallas was going to win that game. And so for Detroit and even Philly to even play for the most part, although I think there was maybe a little interest in Philly, and I'll reserve some of that a little bit later when we get to that game. But I agree with you, though, D. Made no sense for Campbell to do that. But your Donspiracy aspect of it, though, trust, you are right. This works out for the NFL. And these matchups that's got some nostalgia and some motivation and incentive behind it from a personal standpoint, it definitely sets the table up.
And that's why certain teams had to lose, and that's why it was
right.
It just didn't make sense in week 17, and then to double down on it with stupid coaching moves.
Right.
Like at that point, once and so Dan Campbell trying to explain his way into an orchestration. I told them before the game, this is what I was going to do. They saw the same script I saw.
Right.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate. I agree.
But
I totally agree.
Okay, let's talk about these games.
Mm-hmm.
Cowboys versus Washington.
Okay.
Now, game was close. Started off kind of tight.
Yeah. It was.
I know, like normally when you guys are winning and the texts are free flowing.
AD, just real quick. When it was 10-7, you got the tap interception, the deflected interception, and the block kick. Jerry Jones said on the radio, he said right then and there, but I started seeing Darth Vader and I started seeing the Grim Reaper and everything that we would always see. I started seeing all that. Even Jerry got nervous, like, here we go again. So yeah, I feel you on that. But I just had to insert that in there, let y'all know.
I mean,
even what Jerry was feeling. We got nervous.
Did we know ultimately that the Cowboys were going to win. Cowboys were going to win the game, and they just finished. I mean, the nail was already in the coffin for Ron Rivera, but you guys just finished it. Finished Ron Rivera off. I mean, I don't know. How do you feel about that victory? Do you feel confident in that victory, the way you guys won?
Yeah.
Now, let me just tell you something else. You guys kind of bordered being stupid too by leaving your players in to stat pad.
That's all it was, man. And I did not like that at all.
If it's
Cowboy Nation was screaming on Twitter, going crazy.
When they asked Dak about where's your hat? Where's this? What's that? Oh, I want a different hat. Why are you staying in? So you can say that you had the most touchdowns for the season?
Yeah, that's
is that what it, I mean, I guess it makes sense too, because you're due for some pay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, the Rams did the same thing. They kept Puka Nacua in.
Yeah. So he can get the record.
So he can get both of those records. But
yeah.
At what cost? What happens if, one false play? A knee goes this way. A cat, like it just.
Yeah, and that's what you saw. Like even Laporta, right? You saw his knee. I mean, it was actually a non-contact.
So he's not playing.
Yeah,
he's not playing this weekend.
He's not.
So Detroit,
I was very nervous.
Really think you think you're getting past? Are you getting past the Rams?
Who?
I don't know.
Oh, you talking about Detroit? Yeah.
Are you getting past the Rams without Laporta?
I don't know. I actually got the Rams winning that game. When we get into it, I know we'll talk more about it when we get into the previews this week. But yeah. No, to answer your question very briefly, I'll say I took a little bit of solace and some encouragement from the way we ran the ball, because the last two games we did run the ball pretty good, and I like the way Pollard was attacking between the tackles. He did have a good game. He actually went over 1,000 yards. I mean, not that that's a big deal anymore. It used to be a big deal, not anymore. You don't even need to get 100. He only had 100-yard game this year, so getting 1,000 yards is not a big deal. But I did like the way Dallas moved with two backup guards. Okay, so we had Bass, Hoffman in there, and they played pretty well. They held up. Now again, that line is not the line that we know. Right? I'm trust me. I'm gonna definitely be honest about it. That D line of the Redskins ain't what it used to be. Right? You ain't got no Sweat. You got no Chase Young. And the other guy is gone too. Their DT, their all-world DT was out. So like I said, I mean, but it gave me a little bit of hope to see. Okay, Dallas can move the ball a little bit. And I'll talk more about it with Green Bay and their run defense. Okay, which actually their run defense actually gives up 2 more yards more than what the Commanders give up on the ground per game. So, but like I said, I mean, look, I'm glad we on the road, right? As they say. But I like that we did look efficient, and and CD catching I think he got all his targets, if I'm not mistaken. I have to check the stats real quick on that. But Dallas looked good, and we didn't do Dallas things. Okay, so maybe this is a little bit different. So if you want to talk about it from that perspective, for me, we didn't make it close unnecessarily. We didn't do some bonehead things that made us question a lot of the things that we usually question about Dallas. So
the game's
I'm
not
glad
big
that we
enough.
got the win.
The do Dallas things, it has to be a bigger game.
Yeah, that is true. It
doesn't happen in a game that you guys really should have won, right?
Yeah, but just being on the road and just I don't know, still. No, you're right. It's usually got to be a bigger moment, but still, Dallas has. We were in Washington this time last game of the season, and Dak looked bad. We actually lost that game. And so we came into the playoffs with a lot of questions. Thank God we answered that against Tampa Bay and kind of sent Tom Brady into retirement for good. But nevertheless, it wasn't really good. But Dallas, again, man, it's always concerns. It's just what we do. But I do feel confident. I like the way we looked, and we had a dominant performance. At the end of the day, we asserted ourselves like we should have. So yeah. So
I would think that all I was expecting was, did Magic Johnson tweet about Ron Rivera's tenure in Washington?
I don't think he did. I didn't see anything from Magic.
That's all we need is a Magic Johnson tweet about Ron Rivera and thanking him for his service, and But next thing, let's move on.
Yes, sir.
Unless you have anything else to talk about
I was just gonna say Magic probably had something to do with what do you call it? The ex-GM with Golden State being involved with their search. So maybe I'm sure Magic probably had a little insight on that to build a championship team. So yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the Eagles and Giants. And before I say that, right now, there are two teams that really, really should thank the Niners. That's the Steelers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the Rams. Both of those teams should be very, very grateful for us.
Okay.
Because adversity either makes you or breaks you.
Right.
And when the Niners played in, I think it was week 10, the Jaguars were 6-3. They looked like world beaters.
They won 5 in a row before that game.
They looked like world beaters.
Mm-hmm.
And there was questions about, we had some losses, and there was some questions about how were the Niners going to fare against them.
Yeah.
The Niners broke their back.
Yeah.
They never looked the same after that game.
Yeah. Definitely not.
Similar to another team, the Philadelphia Eagles were 10-1. 10-1. Close games, questionable. Yeah, they're not the same, but they were 10-1. The numbers don't lie, right?
Numbers don't lie.
After they played us, they were never the same.
No, they weren't.
So that adversity that they faced, it didn't make them, it broke them. Yep. So the teams that squeaked in should thank the Niners for doing what they did. I just want to get that out there.
I think that's a fair assessment. Yeah, I think it's a fair assessment. However, Dallas, I have to say, when we took our 42, that's why I said we're the real 42. It actually made us better. We actually learned from the beatdown, and CD got the ball. CD goes into Mike McCarthy's office after that game in San Francisco and says, respectfully, I'm not trying to be a diva. This is Mike McCarthy's words. This is what he said. CD came to him and said, I'm not being a diva, but I need the ball. And from that point on, Dallas started to ascend. And so you can learn from a beatdown, or you can do what the Eagles and Jacksonville did and just pretty much fade to obscurity for all intents and purposes. So you got to know what to do with the beatdown. So the 42 here, we learned the lessons and we got better. So that's what I want to say.
You guys pivoted and improved.
Yeah. And we've improved. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of
but go ahead. Yeah.
Eagles, I don't know, man. They lost how many? 5 of 6?
5 or 6. Should have been 6 or 6. That Giant game. If they would have pulled DeVito out sooner and played Taylor earlier, they probably would have won that game too.
Yeah, it's
been 6 in a row.
It's unbelievable how bad the Eagles are playing now.
Yeah, I haven't seen a collapse like this in a long time. Yeah.
I mean, you're already dealing with Devontae Smith's injury.
Right.
Then you have Jalen Hurts. His fingers doing some kind of, I don't know,
pirouette or something like. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
Then you have AJ Brown's knee.
Right.
And so, and they lost someone else. Someone is having season-ending wrist surgery.
Oh yeah, I think they're safety. Is it the safety or somebody in their back
so.
in the secondary? Yeah. Yeah.
So, Sirianni, who we both think has one of the most punchable faces you'll ever see.
Very punchable. Very punchable.
And was not becoming of a coach. If you think about winning, you're supposed to be the calming presence and the mature person in the room. So the fact that you're the main one, your quarterback is more measured than you are.
Right.
After they beat the Chiefs, he was yelling in the hallway about the Chiefs, like, don't mention that anymore. Something he said. But the fact is that came back to bite him, because in the press conference, he was fumbling and stumbling all over his words. That confidence, because word is he's on the hot seat.
Oh yeah, that's legit.
Because the Eagle fan base, we've already discussed Eagle fans and how they start from almost infants.
Wow.
That raw, rugged, yelling at you, and if you're a visiting fan, you better be willing and ready to knuckle up.
Right.
That is indoctrinating.
So
the fact is, you think the fan base is going offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, it doesn't matter who leaves. With that personnel,
right,
there is no excuse to drop those games.
Absolutely.
And so Sirianni, he's stumbling around and trying to say some politically correct stuff, some stuff that was kind of out of line. And so I think sometimes things happen to humble us, right?
Yeah.
And so Sirianni had some humbling that he had to experience, because we remember all this, right? When he was bobbing his head in
bobbing
the
the head and all that, you know what I'm saying?
And even earlier this season when they got off to a good start, he was, so I think ultimately I'm not really confident they'll get through. They might be one and done.
Yeah, I agree.
Do I think Tampa Bay can beat them? I do.
Absolutely they can.
Because you got Godwin, you got Mike Evans, you got Rashad White.
Yeah.
And Baker Mayfield has been playing good. They're more motivated. Baker is, because Baker's trying to be a franchise quarterback and get paid, right?
Right.
Mike Evans has already said he's pretty much done with Tampa Bay. He's going elsewhere, right? So he's going to be looking for a big payday.
Yeah.
And he has been super consistent his whole career.
1,000
yards.
1,000 yards since birth.
Right. So he's looking for his next landing spot. Godwin, of course, they're going to be motivated to win.
Right.
And so I just think the Eagles in a very bad place between injuries, lack of effort.
Yeah.
What do you say?
No, I'm just going to really echo what you said, Don, because the truth of the matter is, and what I was going to mention in regards to Sirianni, he says losing 5 or 6 still doesn't take away from what we've done this year and what we've accomplished. You see, that's the problem right there, particularly with a fan base like Philly, right? But most cities that love their teams, if you're going to be a leader, particularly with the head coach, what fans want to hear is you accepting reality. They don't want encouragement. You can't encourage a fan base. There's no such thing as an encouraging word for the fan base, okay? You can't prophesy your way out of this, okay? The truth is that the fans want to hear you say, we suck, we're bad, we're not good, we need to be better. If we don't get this right, we're one and done, right? You don't want to hear, we got no quitters on this team. Nobody's quitting in that room. The coaches, we're not quitting. Nobody wants to hear that, because you said that 6 weeks ago. Each week you keep saying you're not quitting, but what you say doesn't match the product on the field. So again, at the end of the day, all right, you got to be honest with your fan base, because you cannot tell them that they don't see what they see. We don't care about what you guys are not going to do anymore, because you're still continuously doing it. So when you are in a state like what Philly is, and you're right, reports coming out of Philly, and it's legit, except Joyner, who's one of their, that's one of their, legends there, played with Reggie White and Randall Cunningham and, the late Jerome Brown and the Buddy Ryan defenses and stuff that they had there, okay, when it was really good in the early 90s and so forth. Listen, he's saying Sirianni's in a hot seat, because you know what he said? He said, this is what he was saying. I'm paraphrasing what he said on when they clipped him on the radio show. He said, look, Sirianni's there doing what? Doing what? He's not coaching, because you benefited from the coordinators you had, okay? So your coordinators are gone. So what are you doing? You have nothing to do. You're just standing there. You're just looking around. You're not doing anything. You're not taking any kind of accountability or responsibility as a head coach. And so what we're seeing now is that, and listen, I'm not knocking great head coaches. Everybody needs some good coordinators, right? Belichick had it with McDaniels, right? We've seen coaches that, look, Andy Reid is still Andy Reid. Bieniemy gets his due, but okay, we'll say Andy Reid is still that guy, right? He did win a chip.
No. With all due respect to Andy Reid, we do have to give Bieniemy credit, because we look at wide receivers dropping the ball. Yeah, you can't make an excuse for that. But we've seen, just like we saw Kansas City Chiefs when Tyreek left, they still were able to perform, right? Right. We see how Bill Belichick was after Tom Brady, right? He hasn't been a winning coach. You still have to make reference to how the offense has looked for Kansas City after Bieniemy has been gone. So Bieniemy played a bigger part than maybe we want to give credit.
Fair. And that's fair. And that does support the point that, again, right, coaches do need a good OC. And you're right. Yeah, I don't want to slight Bieniemy. You know, he plays a role. No, he was very instrumental in that the success that Kansas City and particularly Mahomes had, you know, that we've seen in over these past 5 years or so, right? And you need that. But Sirianni, what are you doing? According to Seth Joyner and others in Philly, it's like, what are we keeping you for, right? Because if that's the case, you know, they probably should have just, you know, you would have hoped to keep a Stan Steichen. You probably wouldn't even been in this situation if he was still there, right? And we understand when you're successful, your coaches are going to get plucked. People are going to pull. You know, D, right? D'Amico Ryan's candidate for Coach of the Year, right? Got his team in the playoffs in his first year. When you're a really good team, you got good coordinators and stuff. People are going to come for him. That's just the business. But at the end of the day, Sirianni is on the hot seat. And to me, the way you're leading this team, because here is the thing, your team is broken. I don't care what anybody say. There is fragmentation within that organization, within that locker room. Of course, everybody's going to try to be as respectful and professional as they possibly could be or can be. But I guarantee you, when this season is over, because I believe it's going to be done in Tampa, a lot's going to come out. A whole lot's going to come out, okay? Now, do I think Sirianni will lose his job? I don't think they're going to fire him. But I do believe that, and there was another gentleman who's a very good friend of Jeff Lurie, worked with him for like 17 years, and he said on Twitter about the way Sirianni is handling this, and his comments in the press is not good. Even when you go out and say something stupid like, well, in the Seattle game, we threw the ball to A.J. Brown, hoping we will get, you know what I'm saying, we'll get a pass interference, right? And I think you said it last week, Don, that A.J. Brown had to end up kind of covering for his coach. Like, nah, that play was designed. We was trying to really make something happen there, right? But why would you say that? It's like he doesn't know how to handle the adversity, right? And this is why I say stay humble, because you net freaking, you got the Merton Hanks going on and all that. Merton Hanks got a ring at least, right? And Merton Hanks, you know what I'm saying? Which I hated, by the way. I couldn't stand that dude. But nevertheless, you know what I'm saying? Played on a good team, got a ring, right? You did all of that because you were riding high on the success. But what you should have been doing, and I agree with Shannon Sharp on this, and I'm going to just give credit to his take today. He said that when Jalen Hurts was turning the ball over as often as he was all year long, though they were winning, they should have still said, Jalen, you're not playing good. This coach still should have come out and said, oh, we resilient. No, we need to play better because this is not going to hold up and it's not going to sustain. So no, well, I mean, I don't know, right?
I've seen teams.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Coaches be the coach of the year and get fired.
Yeah, happened in the NBA.
Do we have any NBA champions who have been fired? Not necessarily the next year.
Well, no, but Milwaukee's coach, right? Budenholzer got fired. He got let go. He just won a chip. Right? Yeah. I mean, even what you call it? Frank Vogel. I mean, he did get a chip for the Lakers and he got fired the next year. Not the next year, but the year after. So I'm saying, you know, it happens. Good coaches get fired all the time. And so my thing is, this is about, to me, what I'm seeing from the outside looking in. I see a coach who doesn't know how to coach.
He's not mature.
He's not mature. Very immature. And then because of that immaturity, he doesn't know how to lead his team in the crises. And he's not honest with his fan base. Okay, you want to ride and rock with them. You want to show you cool and you can relate. But this is where your relatability stands now. Be honest. You got to be able to say, we're not playing well and we got to get this fixed because we're in a lot of trouble. Don't tell us guys ain't quitting. We don't care about quitting. You ain't going to need to quit because plans for your vacation is already set in motion because they're not going to beat the Bucs. That defense gives them no chance to win at all. And they're last in the league in motion offense right now. No creativity. They don't even look like they want to play, D. They don't even look like they want to be on the field. They don't even look like they even care. That's why I'm telling you, something internal is going on in that.
Do you think that they're quitting on him and they want him to get fired?
I would not be surprised.
Because, you know, players for contractual reasons and the pay element, the cap hit, you can pay a coach. You can let a coach go, pay him, and it doesn't affect your bottom line, quote unquote, as far as draft capital and, you know, your cap hit and all that stuff. But players are more entrenched, you would think.
Right.
Except, Russell Wilson notwithstanding. You would think that a player is more entrenched. So do you think players ultimately quit on him? Do you think that, because I heard several people say that the Eagle game, it looked like they just quit on him. Like they didn't want to play. Like they were just, and then he pulls the players, but the damage was already done at that point.
Yeah, D, in my opinion, I'm going to tell you yes, and here's why. Because I think Sirianni, he's not holding particularly his OC accountable. I think there is some accountability issues that the players have that Sirianni is not exerting as a head coach that he's doing. Yes, you demoted your DC and you brought in, and now you got Pat Patricia calling the play, which isn't really making much of a difference. I mean, I thought I saw a little something different in their play with Seattle, but I feel like the players, this is just my take on this. I believe that the players have quit on Sirianni. And Scrap, we'll gonna keep it a buck. We're gonna give Scrap an opportunity to answer some of these questions too. He's our resident Philly fan. Yeah, he's our boots on the ground. So we'll see what's coming out of the Philly fan base there and what he's hearing from their insiders. But I'm gonna say this, D. I think because he's not holding guys accountable, and he may not be holding Hurts accountable. I think he's not holding the guys who are the stars of the team accountable for their play. And I think that's what the problem is to a degree, why you're seeing a lackluster performance. There's inertia in terms of their performance out on the field. They don't really play with any level of urgency at all. And there is no accountability that I believe Sirianni is taking with the players that are stars on the team, maybe other mid-level guys, and definitely not with the coaches. So that's what I believe is the case why you're not seeing that they're not playing for Sirianni the way they need to. And a good coach has to navigate bad seasons. When I say bad seasons, in other words, these bad moments or weeks that your team is having. You got to know how to still navigate through those things. You got to know what to say. That's what a leader does. Everybody can lead when it's all good, when you're winning, but can you be able to navigate through when things are bad? And that's the thing that we're not seeing from Sirianni at all. He has no answers for what's going on. And that's why, to me, schematically, there's no answers.
There's no adjustments. There's no adjustments in the game.
No adjustments. No adjustments. That's why I say it don't make no sense. I got to give Mike McCarthy some credit here. Let me just say real quick. I give Mike McCarthy a little bit of credit here because he did make adjustments. He came out at the beginning of the year and said, we're going to run the ball. Kellen wants to throw the ball over the place. I understand. He's trying to get a head coaching job. I've been there. I understand, young OC. He wants to, light up the scoreboard. We're going to run the ball. Right? But we see how that turned out, right? And what did Mike McCarthy do? Mike McCarthy's still an old school coach, but he still had to rely on certain things to say, I got to make some changes, right? And he also said, I can't ever go a whole 2.5 quarters without getting the ball to my best player. Hence what happened in Miami when after CD has 1,000 yards in the first quarter and he just disappears. There's no way you allow that to happen. And so what does Mike McCarthy says? I can't allow that to happen. That can't be, right? So you make some adjustments. Dallas is starting using a little motion. They got Cook more involved after he wasn't involved. Now he's got 8 TDs. He's rocked in the second half of the season. He's actually he got 8 TDs for the year. That's not bad. All pretty much in the second half of the season. So we got him more involved. He's playing now. We get him involved offense. So that's adjustments. And Philly has not made that, D, and you're right. There's none been made. So, yeah. Yeah.
They're in trouble.
They're in trouble. And James, I don't see anything. I was trying to do a little research. I was trying to pull up some sites and see what the latest is on AJ Brown and Hurts and their injury. I think Hurts is going to play. I don't know what the latest is on Brown because Hurts did still play when he got hurt.
To James' comment or question, I don't ever think I've seen a team go 11-6 and fire their head coach. We have seen teams win Super Bowls and have success and still get fired, right? I mean, really, should Jimmy Johnson ever have been fired?
Never. Even
Harbaugh shouldn't have gotten fired for that.
Harbaugh should have gotten fired. Did Harbaugh get fired or did he resign? I don't know. I can't recall. But yeah, you're
resigned,
right. You're right. You're right.
Trent Baalke was a jerk and pretty much pushed him out.
Okay.
So they decided to part ways, right?
Right.
But the Cowboys
and even
Jimmy
the Eagles,
Johnson, his success.
their coach who just won a Super Bowl for them. That's coaching the Jaguars now, right?
Oh, yeah.
Doug Peterson? Is it
Doug Peterson?
Doug Peterson, right? I mean, I know, again, they had some issues, much like with Harbaugh and the management there in San Fran. But at the end of the day, right, I mean, he really shouldn't have lost his job. The guy just won him a Super Bowl. And what was it, a year or two after that, he gets fired?
What was the guy who he won for the Colts?
Dungy?
No, not Dungy. He played. He was the coach of the of Detroit. He was the coach of Detroit for a minute, and now I think he's just a advisor.
The black guy. You talking about Caldwell?
Yeah.
The OC, Caldwell. Yeah.
Didn't he win a Super Bowl?
Well, Caldwell, he did. He win that Super Bowl with them. Oh no, Dungy was the quarterback that won the Super Bowl. He was coaching them when Peyton and them won.
Right.
But he did. But he was the OC on that team, so he got a ring, and he was a really good OC.
So yeah, he was on Caldwell had a successful season. They let him go, and they kept Patricia for several terrible years before Dan Campbell came. If I'm remembering the sequence correctly. Right.
I
think he didn't lose any more. He had at least 10 win seasons.
He did
consecutively.
He did,
and they still got rid of him.
He did. They still got rid of him. In fact, he was 11-5. He was. Oh man, yeah. He had a good run.
Yeah. So it's happened, James. It's happened.
It's happened, man. It's happened. Oh yeah.
And we won't even talk about.
He was 9-7 when he lost his job. Mm-hmm.
Interim coaches that come in and get a spark, and they still, for all intents and purposes, do we think that Pierce is going to get the job in Las Vegas? I don't know. The team has played for him. They responded. Will he get that interim tag knocked off and be the permanent? Time will tell.
Two most important players, Crosby and Devontae, vouch for him. They said they want him. So
absolutely,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah,
absolutely.
So
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
Look what our DC did in Carolina.
Right. Your DC did in Carolina. Yeah, absolutely.
Playing.
With Wilkes. You're talking about Wilkes.
Yeah, Wilkes.
Mm-hmm.
And then they didn't do anything with him.
No, nothing at all. They should have kept Wilkes, I thought. They should have kept him. Yeah, they should have kept him.
I mean, I'm glad they didn't. I don't think Bill is going to Las Vegas. James, let me tell you why Bill is not going to Las Vegas. That would be too much of a culture shock. You can't fit the Patriot way in Sin City. It won't work.
Right.
I know that I just don't see that coming together. Plus, they don't have a quarterback. I know he likes Garoppolo, right? But he needs to go to somewhat of a made situation where the quarterback is really, really good and maybe the defense is lacking.
Right.
Now, I hear the Chargers, maybe it wouldn't even be a bad move to go to Washington.
Who, for Bill?
Yeah. Why not? Get that defense going. If you keep the enemy as the offensive coordinator.
I guess. Well, Bieniemy as a coordinator. Yeah, because he's going to need a coordinator.
He's going to have to relinquish control.
Yeah, he's going to relinquish control. He's got to. And I don't know if, and I'm going to tell you now, I don't know if that ownership group is going to, I don't know if they're going to want Belichick, though. I think because of that reason, he's going to want a lot of control. And I think the ownership don't want to. I don't think with Magic and the rest of that team that's there and the team, meaning the ownership group, I don't know. I don't think they want to give that kind of control to Belichick. And Belichick needs a quarterback. He could do some things. He could do some damage with Bieniemy, but they need a quarterback. So if it's Bo Nix or whoever they're going to get this, because they got the number 2 pick in the draft, so they can get a quarterback. So yeah, that's what you're going to need there. But Belichick, you 25 years of control in one team, GM, he did everything. It was his kingdom there.
Yeah,
it's going to be hard. Yeah, but I mean,
I don't think Carolina either, because I can see him and David Tepper.
Tepper's not going to. No, them two. Nah, Tepper's an idiot. Yeah,
Kraft, he needs to deal with ownership that is entrusting him almost exclusively to call the shots.
Correct.
That's why he could never go to Dallas. He could never go to certain franchises where
Jerry's not going to have that.
The owners are too involved and lingering and laying over them. The reason why I think the Chargers would work is because they have an established quarterback, and their defense, they have players name-wise that just haven't performed. So if you got a couple of receivers, he would need someone to also work on the drafting of these players, because he's not good with personnel. He's like the Michael Jordan of the NFL.
Correct.
Although he never played really. Jordan is arguably the best player ever and just can't get the personnel down. Bill Belichick, some cases people argue, is the best coach ever, but when it comes to player personnel, he just doesn't know how to draft well.
No, he doesn't. He can't draft well. That's his problem. He can't draft well, and that's the knock on Bill. And I think that's what ownership, when they interview him, that's pretty much what they're gonna ask him. Right now, I'm sure Bill will have some counters for that, but at the end of the day, he's had a lot of success with Tom Brady. Now they were 12-4 a couple of years back, just after Brady left. Matt Castle actually had a pretty good. Not Matt Castle. What's his name? Matt Jones had a pretty good year one year, right? He was in a Pro Bowl and everything.
Then they went backwards. They went completely backwards.
They just went backwards, and so that's just the problem that you have there. So yeah, I don't know. I think Bill. I don't know. I just don't know if Bill. I'll be honest. I don't think people. Regardless of what the reports are coming out and saying, if someone hires Bill Parcells, it's going
Bill
to
Belichick.
Bring. I mean,
you better go ahead and say Parcells. If they hire him,
if they hire Parcells,
Bill Belichick should be offended. Like, yo,
he should be. We're
going to take a coach that hasn't coached in.
Right. Well, he can say, "Well, I mentored Bill. I mentored Belichick. Without Parcells, there'll be no Belichick." So but he. The truth is that I think, for me, I believe if you hire Belichick, right, to your point, Donald, got to give him full reign. It's going to be a big splash hire, right? It's the real sexy hire. It's going to put people in the seats. Expectations are going to rise. It is good for business, right? If you bring a Belichick in there. So that's the thing, I think. But I just don't think schematic-wise. Yeah, go ahead.
He did say today that he would be willing to take a lesser role or relinquish some of his responsibilities. I don't know if that was to remain with the Patriots or perhaps in another situation. Because clearly it's not working. Him having all these hats. Sometimes you just have to be able to allow the professionals in said fields, let them work. You're still in charge. And if you see something getting out of hand, then you make adjustments. That's where the adjustments happen. Correct. But I just think the player personnel, he's not good at that. Whatsoever.
No, he's not. He's not. And that's been masked for a long time because of you've had the greatest quarterback of all time. So
there is also talk. I've heard this. 2 places potentially for Russell Wilson to go.
Okay.
New England Patriots and the Pittsburgh Steelers. So if Bill Belichick, if you're factoring in his age and him being set in his ways, a veteran quarterback who can take the bruises, the bumps and bruises, although there is a connection with Bill Belichick and, in the case of Russell Wilson, his last coach that kicked him to the curb. Right. I think that may work for Bill Belichick. Right? Now, if you go to Pittsburgh Steelers, just think how the Steelers played with subpar quarterback play.
Subpar, and that's giving him a compliment.
We can agree that Russell Wilson is better than Kenny
Pickett,
absolutely. Mason Rudolph.
Big time.
Rudolph the
Trubisky,
red-nosed reindeer.
Yeah.
Every Rudolph you can think of. Rudolph.
Right.
Every Rudolph. He's better than all of them, right?
Yeah, he is.
So just think about that level. And so Mike Tomlin is a straight shooter. He's going to keep it, but he's not throwing his players under the bus.
No, he's not going to.
So I think he would be able to provide the support that Wilson would need. and allow Wilson to really flourish in that offense. You got weapons. You got running backs.
Yeah.
You got a good defense. I mean, unfortunate with TJ Watt. So they're probably not going to have him the first game.
No, he's not. No. No, you mean for next year, right? Oh, yeah.
I'm saying TJ Watt, you're not going to have him in the playoffs.
Well, right. No. He's not going to be in the playoffs. Okay, but I thought you meant as far as next year going with Russell. If Russell ends up there.
Yeah. You'll have a great defense.
You'll miss TJ the first few games of the season. Yeah.
So, no, I think TJ Watt will be ready.
You think he'll be ready by? I don't know. Such a late injury. I don't know. Yeah. Well, it depends. Yeah. The way these guys are healing nowadays.
Or was it just? I thought it was just a bone bruise.
I thought it was a tear. Okay.
No,
I could be wrong.
I thought it was just a bone bruise, and they would have to win. He's going to be out at least 2 weeks, I thought.
Okay.
I don't think it's surgery. I think it's just a very bad bone bruise.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens, man. But I think the Steelers would be a good spot for him to go.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Mike Tomlin would hold him accountable, yet respect him. And that's what and I think at this point in Russell Wilson's career, that's what he needs. He needs the firmness of a coach holding him accountable, but yet respecting him and not disrespecting him, not tearing him down to the media, behind his back and in front of him. I think all of that matters. Yeah, he has a grade.
Yeah, you're right.
MCL
a grade,
sprain.
MCL sprain. You're right. Yep, you're right.
So
that is correct.
If they make a deep run, he could probably get back. I mean, they're not going to, but I'm just saying.
No. It's a wrap for them dudes. Yeah, they're not getting past Buffalo unless Josh Allen decides to let that happen. But no, which I doubt.
So you brought up Josh Allen. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's talk about Miami. Somebody on this show said that Miami was a fraud all season long.
Mm-hmm.
Even when they were looking good, even when they were putting up 70 points, even when the receivers, everybody was running 25 miles an hour. Frauds. Tua had 2 receivers with 200 yards, over 200 yards in one game. And I think they threw 7 touchdowns. Something ridiculous.
Right.
Frauds.
Right.
And so Miami is in a world of hurt. And we had kind of mentioned it already. When you are not factoring and looking at the big picture, and you're focusing on the here and now and stat padding and running it up on a team, you miss the boat. Or just acceptance. Maturity will let you know this game is lost. We're not coming back.
Right.
Baltimore is beating the pants off of us. So let's just bow out gracefully. We still have the division, the possibility of winning the division next week. Let's go with that.
Yeah, let's rock out.
But instead, you keep players in way too long. Way too long. And as a result, Tua is dealing with a shoulder injury. You lose Nick Chubb, who was playing really, really well.
Yeah, he was.
And so when you really needed those players to go all out, because 21-14 was a winnable game. It wasn't a blowout.
No doubt.
Josh Allen was handing the ball to Miami.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he was.
Then
3 turnovers. He gifted them.
Yeah,
plenty of times.
And then so because you unloaded the clip the week before when it really didn't matter.
Right.
Just to, I guess, prove that you belong. By the way, they're 1-5 with teams with winning records.
Yeah.
Now you have no bullets left, and now you're trying to pistol whip a team for the AFC East title. Makes no sense.
Right.
That's where,
I agree.
That's where the pants, the knickers, and the off-white, Air Force One, $300 and $400 sneakers.
Right.
That's when it gets really old.
Yeah.
And those, eccentric answers, and he's just so deep, and that's when it gets. But let me tell you, Miami, because of the tropical weather and the people, and everybody is either retired or rich or this, they don't have a fan base that's really going to hold them accountable. There are certain fan bases that you can get away with that.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
The Rams don't have a real fan base, right?
No, not at all. The Chargers don't either.
Chargers don't have a fan base.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
You know?
No.
I would dare say Atlanta doesn't have a fan. Everybody got Vic jerseys. You had 7 teams, 700 players since then. Why you still got a Vic jersey on?
Still wearing Vic jersey. That's it.
So
no, the Atlanta Falcon fans, they don't hold. No, they definitely hold their team accountable. They still think they're gonna win the Super Bowl this year. But go ahead.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think those are the type of things that, in one way, it's good because you can get away with that, right? Because it's Miami, and the run and gun offensive explosion kind of goes with that lifestyle, right? South Beach and just enjoying and being just just fun in the sun. But when it was more important for them to win the division and host the game.
Right.
Tua, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle. Who else do they have? Barrios
and
Cheerios. Everybody.
Cheerios.
Cheerios, Mostert.
Right. Mostert.
Everybody. How are they going to fare in cold weather?
Right. How are they? Well, it's funny. It's now I will say this with Miami. They did play well in the snow last year against Buffalo, and that game was pretty close last year, right?
Did they win?
No, they didn't. But I think they put up like 30-something points. And the thing is, Miami is this. Now it is a little tricky. They do play the AFC East, right? So they're used to at least traveling to New England, to New Jersey, to Buffalo once a year, right? So they're not new to those elements, right? But again, because of the fact that day to day you just live in a climate that's just like, there's no challenges, climatically, right? You just don't have no precipitation issues. So when you come out of a night, you've been in those warm weathers, week after week, and then you play on the road in a playoff game on the road when it's going to be in KC, it's going to be 2 degrees actually. With the wind
chill, it's going to be like -17.
Yeah, it's going to be like -17. And listen, and I got to say one more time on this, because I was just watching these sports shows today. And it's like Shannon Sharp said, though, he said, but look, Kansas City ain't no better either. If they were dropping passes in 75, 80 degree weather, what you think they're going to do when it's 2 degrees? So they're going to drop some passes still, too. So the weather's going to affect them just the same. But to your point, Miami, you know what it is with Miami? Their offense let them down. What I was putting in the chat here with James, I'll just say it out loud, though, is that the Miami, they have not made adjustments with these other guys. And again, goes back to coaching, D, right? Waddle is gone, right? So you see them force feeding Hill, right? And I get it. You're trying to get your number one player, your starter ball. But you have to still be able to move the ball and score points and find other ways to be effective. If Miami's not hitting a home run, they don't know what to do. They can't play small ball. And they was shut out last in the second half of that game. And even against Dallas, they had to score. They only got 5 field goals in that game.
Achane was running at 8 yards a clip.
Yeah, and what happened? They stopped.
Why do you go away from that? Because it's not the sexy thing to do.
It's not the sexy thing to do.
70-yard passes is more sexy. It's more Miami. It's more South Beach. It's more Clevelander than just running the ball and effectively securing the AFC East title.
Right. You're right. No, you're definitely right. And that's why the only team that was smart enough, and shout out to Brady on this, the OC for the Bills, they did not fall into who they were in that game against Dallas. They stayed with the run no matter what. They was only 15 attempts for Josh Allen in that game. Trust me, they could have gotten tempted and thrown the ball all over the yard to Kincaid and Knox and Diggs and everybody else and Davis, but they decided to do what was working, and that's what they did. And Miami game could have done the same. As close as that game was, just keep giving the ball to Achane. That's what they could have done. But again, they gonna go back to who they are, and that's not smart playoff football and smart coaching, in my opinion, especially in a game of that magnitude. And the game was close. It wasn't like you was 2 scores down going into the fourth quarter where you had to start airing the ball out. Didn't make sense. You could have kept the ball on the ground. But two big plays, though. Outside of the turnovers at Buffalo, but you had the tip catch, toe tap with the end zone catch, right? Which kind of, and a punt return. So, and the guy that got hurt on that punt return, he was right in the lane where the guy was, and the guy turned his whole ACL or whatever, his knee, and that was it. And he just shot right up that hole, you know what I'm saying, once that guy fell down without contact. So, yeah, man, now, tough break for the Dolphins, man. No question.
But I'll say this also.
Yeah.
The Bills, the other reason that Miami should be kicking themselves, other than Week 17's actions and play calling and that stuff, is the fact that we saw Josh Allen back into Josh Allen form, doing the hero ball, trying to run through people and just make bad decisions. They should have had a balanced attack of running the ball,
right,
passing. But whenever the Bills are Josh Allen centric, they set themselves up for disaster.
Right, I agree.
Why wouldn't you use Cooks? Why wouldn't you use Leonard Fournette, who you got? Who, if you want to pass, do it. Take a page out of Tom Brady's book.
Right.
Use that as an extension of the run. Short passes that are high percentage.
Yeah, that's what Brady did.
But instead, you got to throw a 70-yarder. And although when they won, Josh Allen said that he felt good only having 15, attempts and being the kid that does nothing on a project and gets an A. That's not true. He's not. He's being disingenuous.
Disingenuous, yeah.
Because he wants to be the man.
Right.
If you've been told that you're the man the whole time, and you see other quarterbacks like C.J. Stroud, people that are in AFC, Patrick Mahomes, everybody, Joe Burrow is hurt, but you still think Joe Burrow, if healthy, is the man.
Right.
Lamar Jackson, you want to be the reason that your team wins. And I think it is dangerous if he tries to force himself to be the reason that they win, they will lose. And they won't go deep in the playoffs. I will say this also. After they fired the offensive coordinator, we had a discussion about either two ways they were going to go about it. Because Diggs had already expressed his frustration with the Bills. They were either going to force feed him or starve him.
Correct.
They starved him. They starved him.
They definitely starved him.
He's not going to be with the Bills next year. But you best believe he's not. They made sure that his numbers were the worst of his career. They did not want him to leave the Bills with impressive numbers because they want teams to question, is he really good? Did he lose a step? Is he not? They're not. I mean, they threw him some passes yesterday, but overall, I think he went 6 games. The first 6 games of the season, I think he was averaging maybe 100 yards or better. The second 6 games of the season, or 7 games, 25, 30 yards, 3 attempts, 2 attempts. Everybody else, they had another person come. They had everybody else that the Bills were trying to use. And I get it. You're double teaming your best receiver, right? So Diggs. But you have Gabe Davis. So they're not totally double teaming him.
Right.
But you're taking other players, giving them 5, 6, 7 targets, and your best player, you're not trying to get him the ball. And mind you, this is the player that came to the Bills that changed the Bills' life, changed Josh Allen's life. Because of Diggs, you got that big contract. That's going to kick in next year. At I think 45 or 47 million. And so they made a conscious, concerted effort, as I thought they would, to completely freeze him out.
Yeah, they did. If I could say this real quick, let me just show you what the stats were with him, right? So I'm going to work from last night's game on the way down. So he had 7 receptions last night. He had 7 receptions, 4 against New England, 5 against the Chargers, 4 against Dallas. And as we know, there was a low attempt game for Josh Allen in general. The KC game, he had 4 receptions. Had 11 targets, but 4 receptions, so that was bad. right? He had 6 receptions against the Eagles, 4 receptions against the Jets, 3 receptions against Denver, 6 against Cincinnati, 9 against Tampa Bay, all right, and 6 against New England. This is now we're going back into October. And then he had 10 receptions against the Giants and then 8 against the Jacksonville Jaguars on October 8th. Okay. So only twice this year, D, okay, did he actually have 10 catches or more. That was once against the Giants. He had 10 catches on 16 attempts. And then against the Jets, which is the first game of that season when they lost in overtime, he had 13 targets with 10 receptions. That was it. Everything else was now he has 100 receptions for the year in total, but that's
games though. I mean 17 games. That's
17 games, yeah. But that's bad.
For your number one receiver?
For your number one receiver to have actual games. I mean, D, there was a stretch in December.
Brandon Ayuk would never. They would never do that to Brandon Ayuk.
No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't because
Brandon
Ayuk
was
open.
So that's when you take it into consideration. They made a conscious effort the second half of the season.
That's right.
Because he was already clear that he does not want to go back with them.
No.
He was frustrated.
No, he
that marriage was heading for divorce. He says, pretty much, that's, Diggs on the Cowboys, that's my brother, and I'm speaking for him, and and my brother's keeper and all this other stuff. Cool. It is clear that he no longer wanted to be on that team. And, it's frustrating because Gabe Davis gets a lot of targets. There's another dude, number 10 on their team, gets a lot of Khalil Sharif. He gets a lot of targets.
He does.
Especially the second half of the season, his target share has gone up tremendously. I mean, he's making the most of it, but certainly your number one receiver should get at minimum 10 to 15 targets a game.
Yeah, they should. Absolutely. I don't disagree
especially
with that.
if you don't have a wealth of weapons. I mean, if you were the Niners, maybe you don't have enough balls or arms to throw that many to all the weapons that you have. But the Bills, you certainly should be force feeding or making sure, because he can line up everywhere. He can go on the slot. He can go he can go in he can run any of the routes. So the fact that they're not pushing to get him the ball speaks volumes.
Huge volumes, D. Huge volumes. So there's no question about it. I mean, he's definitely gone after this year. No question about it. That marriage is done between him and regardless of whatever happens. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So So he's in his final year of his deal. So that's it. You know what I'm saying? So that's it. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Because that deal he was still on with was with if my facts are right, okay, and this is from a Buffalo website here. BuffaloRumblings.com. I'm just reading here. He inked that 4-year deal, $96 million extension with Buffalo. Well, he did do an extension with Buffalo that kept him on the contract until 2027. So he's still under contract, but I don't know if they're going to have to try to trade him or that's about the. I mean, they're not going to cut him because it's going to be too much against the cap hit, because that'll be $20 million cap hit that they would end up, and that's $45 million in dead money that they would have to end up having if they just let him walk. So they're going to definitely try to trade for him. And I think definitely, people be in the market for Diggs, no question about it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And James, he's double teamed at 61.3% as you stated. But
about Davis, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, he's talking about Diggs.
I mean, not Diggs, Davis. I mean, Diggs. I'm sorry.
He's talking about Diggs.
Yeah.
But creative offenses will be able to figure out ways to get your best player, your best offensive weapon, the ball in space.
Yeah.
I don't think he can't be double teamed any more than Tyreek is, than Devontae Adams.
Right.
Then Justin Jefferson, except for when those other players, Addison and all those other players, came out of the woodwork and started to really blow up.
Yeah.
They found a way to get him the ball.
They found a way. Yeah.
Deontay Johnson. I mean, he's not on that level, but Deontay Johnson, even if it's short passes, and let him try to, get the ball in space, try to juke someone and go deep, whatever. Double move in the slot, out.
Yeah.
You can get him the ball.
It's ways to get a guy a ball. The double team is not this thing. We're not talking old school football. You can scheme a guy open, no question about it. You know what I'm saying? If you got to run some legal pick plays, line him up in the slot, you can get that guy open. He's still your best receiver on that team. There's no way you don't let that guy touch the ball. So yeah, it's straight Sodom and ignore. They ignored him all the way. Didn't get him the ball. And that's just what they want to do. So yeah, he's definitely up out of there. Which I think that, and here's the thing, right? And maybe they're just looking at life, what's going to be without Stephon Diggs. So clearly they can win without him having a high usage, right? I mean, they're not world beaters, but they are winning, right? So we'll see what they get back.
They won 5 straight.
Scraps, I just watched the intro. Rod, you're hilarious. He's saying that's why his numbers have declined. Haven't watched many Bill games, so ain't going to pretend to know. No, and I mean, I'm with you on that, though, too. But just reading the stats that I just gave out, though, James, when you look at the amount, to go through 5, 6, 7, 8 games in a row where you only got 5, 4, 5, 4, 3, 5, 4 catches, okay? Catches in a game, that's not good. That's not good. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's something in there that he must have did with them, man. He pissed somebody off, and Diggs probably, a straight shooter, pissed somebody off. And you notice he changed his tone, right? He changed his tone after Trayvon put out the tweet and all that. They gotta, move, get Allen out of there, move 12 and all this other stuff. And then, he took the high road and all this stuff. I think because they probably came to a conclusion and said, yo, look, this is what we're going to do for you, okay? This is yada, yada, yada. When the season is over, this is how we're going to move this situation. If you good with that, we good with that. All we ask is you to just, play nice, be a team guy and let us just get through this season. And I think that's probably what happened. You know what I'm saying? Because he didn't want to get himself completely isolated and completely ostracized. So, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't everywhere else
open up if Diggs is double. Ideally, yes.
Yeah.
But even when, for example, Devontae Adams gets double. But do you see how, Jacoby Myers benefits from that, right? Jacoby Myers has had a great season. Probably because they're doubling Devontae. But when the season's all said and done, they make sure Devontae gets his targets.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
And he makes the most of it, as you would expect Diggs to make the most of it, given his targets. Yeah. Under 10 to anywhere from 10 to 15 targets for your number one receiver is unacceptable. If you have a passing offense.
Correct.
Now, if you have a run game and you have this and you have that, then okay. The Bills don't have a run game. They are exclusive. I mean, Josh Allen can throw the ball 45, 50 times a game.
Correct.
So when you think of it that way, 10 to 15 targets is not a lot in the grand scheme of things, especially going to your number one receiver. But it is what it is.
Yeah, you gotta do that.
If Josh Allen is your number one rusher, you will have a quick, early playoff exit.
No, I totally agree.
No way.
I totally agree.
No way. They better get Cook the ball and Leonard Fournette and whoever else, and come up with some creative ways to run the ball. Of course, you're gonna have some quarterback runs, but that should be far and few between. Why would you put your most important asset at risk? That's why you have running backs.
No, I definitely agree.
Now, a little quarterback sneak or something like, okay, yeah, fine. But just letting him run and letting these linebackers tee off on him,
right?
It's just not smart, especially after he signed a big deal.
And you know opinion. What? You know what, D? And you mentioned Devontae Adams, right? I'm looking at about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games this season where he had I mean, high targets, right? Against Indianapolis 2 weeks ago, 21 targets. Against the Chargers, he had 12 targets. Back on December 10th, against Minnesota, he had 10 targets. Against Miami, 13 targets. The Jets, 13 targets. Against Chicago on October 22nd, he had 12 targets. Check this. In the early part of the season, on September 24th, he had 20 targets against the Steelers. They ended up losing that game, right? And 13 targets against the Chargers again the following week. And here's the thing, the point I'm making on this, right? To add and corroborate what you're saying, D, that's what a bad quarterback, right? They got a bad quarterback play in Oakland, right? I mean, or in Vegas, rather. So for Josh, that's how you, like you say, it's so deliberate because double teaming Diggs still shouldn't stop. We know guys can still scheme to get open, but you still got a quarterback that has great ball placement, right? We know Josh Allen is one of the best arms, if not the best arm in the league, right? The dude's got a cannon, right? I don't think I've seen an arm like that since Cam Newton, in my opinion. The dude has an arm. And so
I think there are better arms in the league, but I get what you're saying.
Who do you think was a better arm than him as far as strong? Did you see that throw he made to Diggs? I
think Patrick Mahomes has a better arm than him. And I would arguably think with accuracy, I think Justin Herbert has a better arm than him.
I think Herbert has a good arm. I don't know. It just feels but it's the throws that he makes on the run. And we know Mahomes can make the throws, and I've seen Herbert make the throws. But Josh, man, it's a certain release. It's a cannon. Like, you got guys that got really good arms. So I'm not going to debate you on the guys you just mentioned. No question. They got good arms, no doubt. And we've seen them make great throws. But like, the dude can be on his tippy toes. Like that throw he made to Stephon Diggs down the sideline when he caught that ball like inside the 3. Yo, he was rolling to his left with pressure in his face on his throwing to his left, D, and reeling back and it was like he just tossed it, but the ball went. I mean, it was such a perfect throw, and it hit Diggs right in the. I mean, Diggs is going down to the ground. Boom, hits him right there. I mean, that I ain't gonna lie, man. That's a heck of a throw going to your opposite side, throwing from your left side as a right-handed quarterback with pressure on you. Like, if you ever go back and just look at that play, take a look at that play, man. It was. I know a lot of people talk about that throw. That throw was crazy. So I think, like, when you have a quarterback that can throw like that, being in double coverage for your best receiver still doesn't make a difference. Like, the Raiders is throwing, like, they got me out there trying to throw the ball 25 times to Devontae Adams. You know what I'm saying? Like, you would think it'd be the inverse of that, right? You got a bad quarterback. He just can't get the ball to Devontae because he's just bad. But they still made an attempt to get him the ball. To your point, when you got a number one, you're going to get the number one the ball. So it's a bad situation though, man. But and
once again, thank the Niners again, because we had a discussion about real number ones. How many targets should they have? And after the 42-10, they started getting CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb, whatever money that he gets, whatever payday that he's well deserving, a percentage of that should go to a charity of the Niners choosing.
Yo, but D, it helped us and it made us. You know what I'm saying? It cultivated us. It made us better. It prepared us for purpose. Okay?
It does.
And so, indeed, and then that's what happened. And then CD just went on a
trying of your team work with patience.
It was trying of your team work with patience.
Right.
All right. So you could have a guy, and I think there was pattern, try to get CD as pat as they could, man. They try to see if he could break, try to at least pass Tyreek Hill in yards and stuff. So, and I think Tyreek got another catch yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. I think he beat him by a catch. I could be wrong on that, but I think at one point they were tied on receptions. But yeah, man, average 6 games. Diggs played 17 and averaged 9 targets a game. Yeah. Okay, you talking about the targets, right? Right, James?
Yeah, he's talking about
targets. I know BA missed the game this year. Yeah. Well, I mean, again, I think the targets are going to be low because, like we've been saying. I mean,
no. But what I think he's suggesting is a number one getting only 3 more targets or 2.5 more targets than someone who is, according to Rod, the 4th option on a team. Your number one shouldn't be able, nothing based on, according to Rod, because I think I hold Brandon Ayuk at more of a higher regard than Rod does. But the numbers shouldn't even be comparable is ultimately the point. I think that's what he's saying.
Well, I mean, if you want to take a minute to even research other number one receivers, right? Research Hill, research Devontae Adams, research Mike Evans, research Amon St. Brown. Look at their targets per game, right? And I mean, so it's not just CD, it's everybody, right? Who is considered the number one threat and the number one receiver on their teams. And again, you're going to see a difference in that. I'm not taking anything away from Ayuk. I think Ayuk is a very good receiver. In fact, he's going to make an all-pro. He's going to be all-pro. Now, remember, y'all, Pro Bowl don't mean nothing at the end of the day. Pro Bowl it's all right. It's good. It's good to be named to the Pro Bowl. But all-pro, right? It's like the NBA. Getting to an all-star game is nice, but it's all NBA, right? Do we want to make the all-NBA team, right? Particularly first or second. If there's a third, you can make as well. But the all-pro team, first and second all-pro in NFL, you make it. That's where you make your money. That's when you now have been solidified and you acknowledged by your peers as that dude. Now, Brandon Ayuk is a very good receiver. I don't take anything away from him. All I'm saying is that it's yet to be seen if he can be that guy with lesser talent around him. Because again, nobody is scheming for Brandon Ayuk the way they're going to scheme for CD, Devontae, Amon Brown, or Tyreek Hill. That's just it is what it is. You can say what you want.
Rightfully so. I agree.
Right?
I agree with
and that's all. And that's all I'm saying, right? Because
opportunity makes a difference.
It makes a difference. So Brandon, if they don't sign him this year, right? Or if they have to let him go, which I don't.
Let me ask you a question. Mikal Bridges.
Yeah.
Did you think that Mikal Bridges was who he was when he was on the Suns? No. As opposed to when he went to Brooklyn and had that opportunity to showcase his talent. Did we think James Harden, when he was with OKC and was the sixth man, did we think that he would ever lead the league in scoring? Did we ever think he would be an MVP? So exposure and opportunity, it counts for something.
Well, I mean, but then now what do we see with Mikal Bridges, right? I mean, Mikal Bridges, for all intents and purposes, I mean, he's still playing good basketball, right? He's still playing good basketball. Now, he's not blazing like he was when he first got to the Nets.
No,
he's kind of come back down to earth a little bit, but he's still averaging 21 points a game. He's still good. He's definitely more. We know what he is outside of what he was in the Suns. So to your point, Ayuk can be, but Mikal Bridges is not. Is he still considered like a star? He's not a star.
Okay, right? So use the James Harden instance then.
Right, because there's not been enough consistency with Mikal Bridges. He's kind of come down to earth a little bit. James Harden, that's a better example. So are you implying that Ayuk can be a James Harden if he gets on a team where maybe he's playing with Houston? Well, I mean, but as far as
James Harden is a choke artist.
I feel the same way you feel about him. But that's clutch, right? You're talking about clutch performances. But Harden, for all intents and purposes, it's been a great player, right? I'm not a great
scoring leader, MVP,
yeah, scoring leader, all of that,
assist leader. Yeah. So
do you think
he went from being a sixth man on a team,
right,
with other two big superstars in what at the time Westbrook and Kevin Durant,
right,
to then being a complete, what he did in Houston has never been seen before.
Right.
His scoring output, I think he averaged 37 points, 35 points a game.
Yeah,
that has never been seen. Jordan has never averaged 35 points.
No, not at all.
And we're talking from that position, right?
Right, I understand what you're saying. So are you saying, but going back now, translating that to Ayuk, are you implying that Ayuk can be a Devontae or CD or Hill or any of these guys, right, at that level, if he was now the true number one option? Say if he went to Houston, or if he went to
I don't know
what other team could I think
Houston.
of?
But
because I think Houston doesn't really have a true number one in my.
They have a number one.
Who's their number one? That
Tank
kid?
Tank Dell is their number one. He's a rookie. He's their number one. Tank Dell is exceptional. He's an exceptional wide receiver. And so I'll say this. Do I think...
Well, he's been hurt, though. He was hurt. He missed 7 games this year, right? He got hurt,
right.
yeah.
And what's his numbers with 7 games?
47 receptions and with 75 targets. He ended with 709 yards because he's out for the season, right? He's not playing in the playoffs, right? He's done. Right. That's the little dude that they put in on a goal line package at the 1 yard line. Was that him? That little wide receiver, that little dude?
No, he's not little. Tank Dell got to be at least 6'3", 6'4".
No, he's 5'10", 165 pounds. Yeah, that's that little kid that they put in there. Remember he got hurt?
He said little kid.
He's little, but I'm saying he's small. He's only 165 pounds. He's 5'10". And they put him in there in that jumbo package out there and had him block it at the goal line. That's how he got hurt.
Yeah.
I think that's how he got hurt. Yeah,
that's how he got hurt.
His fibula. Yeah. That's the same kid. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good player.
No, he's a good player. I mean, I don't know.
Well, this is what I would say.
I don't know if he's the number one yet, but go ahead. Okay.
This is what I would say. 2 players that I would say I want Brandon Ayuk to retire a Niner, right?
Right.
But 2 receivers that I would say to watch out for if they get the opportunity to be a number one on another team. Brandon Ayuk, T. Higgins. Those are bona fide number 1 receivers in a number 2 role. Bona fide number 1 receivers. Okay. Just my take on it.
I agree.
I agree with you on that. Space and opportunity presents itself. They will be able to showcase their talent.
I'm not mad at that. I agree with you there, particularly on especially with T. Hig. No question about it. This year was tough because he only played 12 games. He got hurt, and then the quarterback play wasn't really great because Burrow didn't play well this year. No. So they had this struggle. So I would, to my mind, I would give this. He only had 42 receptions in 12 games, right? He had 76 targets. He ended up with 656 yards. He did have 5 TDs though. But when you go back to last year,
Tank Dell's numbers were actually better than his. So that tells you all you need to know. Similar, they've been out similar. Yeah. T. Higgins is a veteran. Yeah. Tank Dell, I think, definitely has more touchdowns.
Yeah. Tank Dell, I got to go back to Tank. Yeah, you high on this kid, Tank Dell. You like him.
Tank Dell he's the truth, man.
You like him. Yeah. I just know that he just, so Dell this year, Dell had 7 TDs. Yeah, so he had more. He had 7 TDs, 47 receptions. I mean, it's almost comparable to what, and he had 42 receptions this year, T. Higgins. So he had, 5 more receptions more.
But how many more games, though?
He had 1 more game. Higgins played 12 games and Dell played 11.
Okay.
So, but I mean, you got to put it in context.
You got to have an eye for talent, man. You got to have an eye for talent.
No, but the context is that Burrow was hurt and he played with backups at some stretch, right? So where Stroud was balling. Like, Dell had a really good quarterback throwing him the ball. So that kind of matters. You know what I'm saying? If you can catch passes from bad quarterbacks, for the most part, then you're really saying something. You know what I'm saying? So,
this is true.
But yeah, so I think that's something there you could make an argument on. No, but I think Ayuk. Listen, we got to see what Ayuk. It's hard, D. It's hard.
I know. I understand.
I'm only going to attribute.
You didn't watch those college. You didn't watch any of those college highlights. You didn't watch any of those college. Because you don't see the value in it.
So then the only one you can blame then, but you can't blame at the same time.
Nobody's blamed. No.
Okay.
I'm not blaming anybody. But I will say this: if and when, and this is when we'll probably have an opportunity to see it in real time this year. If and when you guys make it to the NFC Championship game and play us, Brandon Ayuk is going to have a out of this world game. And that's going to be comeuppance for you. The fact that he has an out of this world game and you guys get eliminated on the hands, the footwork, and the yak of Brandon Ayuk.
I don't know, man.
What you looking at? You looking at what he did against y'all this season?
I'm trying to pull up what he did against us in the playoffs, but no, this year, and you talking about in that game, I'm not even going to mention that game, man. That game was a blowout from the beginning. So whatever he put up won't even matter. Even if he caught 2 catches in that game, it still doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when it's all said and done. But let me see here. But if you want to know, I could tell you that.
You can let me know, please.
All right, I'll let you know. Sure, no problem. I'll let you know what he did against Dallas. You know, in that game against Dallas, he had 4 receptions for 58 yards, averaged 14 and a half yards per catch in that game, right? And he didn't score a TD. Of course, that was Kittle. It was more Kittles that day. But y'all had a short field, turnovers. Pollard had a bad fumble inside the 20. On our side of the field, gave y'all a short field.
Threw a couple of interceptions, 3.
A couple of bad interceptions, yeah. So I mean, the game was pretty much out of reach at that point.
He had 2 or 3 interceptions.
He had 2.
2 interceptions.
Yeah, 2 in the game.
Yeah. So okay. Well,
yeah. So wasn't great.
Let's talk about. Do you want to give the?
No, he had 3 interceptions. My apologies.
That's what I thought. A few. He had a few interceptions. A couple is 2.
Yeah,
a couple is 2.
Okay. All right.
He had a few.
It's your world. It's your world.
No. Don't give me the world. Don't give me the world.
Don't give him the world.
So, do we want to bother talking about the Jags and just Trevor Lawrence and the way that team is going backwards? Let's skip that. Let's talk about, because we know that we beat the what hair product could Trevor Lawrence be a whatever. What's some hair products? I'm bald, so I don't.
I don't know either, bro. Afro
hair products.
I don't know. I don't even know.
I don't know. But in any case,
I don't know.
Whatever it was, we beat it out of him, and they hadn't been the same since.
No.
Let's talk about Jameis Winston before we wrap up. Now,
Jameis. Go ahead, man. Go ahead, bro. Jameis Winston.
Okay. I watched his press conference and his explanation. For those that didn't see the game, it was victory formation. Jameis Winston decide to hand the ball off to their running back, who had 17 touchdowns last year when he played for Detroit. This year, he had no touchdowns. And it was victory formation. They were already winning 41-17. They punched it in, and it made it 48-17. So Arthur Smith, who got fired, he was the first coach fired. He was really upset with Dennis Allen.
Yeah. And
when they do the congratulations, shake hand in the center of the field, he was cursing him out and he was upset. So Jameis Winston, when asked about why he did it, you got to understand this. Jameis Winston is a simpleton. He's a simpleton. And so I think part of it is Jameis Winston, because he, in his mind, thinks, in his heart of hearts, knows he's not going to be there next year. Mm-mm. So even when Carr was injured, Jameis Winston had an opportunity, or I'm sure there were opportunities for Jameis Winston to perhaps compete to be a starter elsewhere. And what did they do? They would put Taysom Hill in front of him. They would have Carr. They would shoot Carr's shoulder up. Anything but give Jameis Winston an opportunity. And so when I listened to him talk, it seemed like Jameis Winston, when in his comments, was repeating what he heard when I guess he was looking for, and this is my take, right? When he was looking for an opportunity to either showcase his talent, or when Carr was injured, he was healthy, to give him an opportunity to actually play and maybe give the team their best option to win a game. Mm-hmm. He was told probably from Dennis Allen, it's a coaching decision. It's a team decision.
Yeah.
And so Jameis Winston, the first opportunity he got, showed that Dennis Allen, you're not anybody. We will override what you say and do what we want to do.
Yep.
I'm going to undermine you the last day. It's like the last day of school flooding or stuffing toilet paper in all the toilets to let them overflow. Those that went to public school know what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
So flood it's the last day of school. You're not going to suspend me. You're not going to do nothing to me. So I'm going to do this the last day to snub your authority. And I think that's what Jameis Winston did. Because in the press conference, when they were talking to him, he was saying, however, it is a team decision. Yeah. I decided to make that decision.
Yeah.
So I think it was deliberate. He's a simpleton, and we've seen him with the you want the W and biting and all that else crazy antics. But I think this was a calculated move by Jameis Winston to prove and show to Dennis Allen, to maybe the ownership and general manager of the Saints, that I'm going to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And there's nothing, you cut me. It's the end of the season. We ain't making the playoffs anyway. So cut me. Do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Maybe I've made enough money that I'm good enough, or maybe another team will give me a shot. But I'm going to do what I want to do. What do you say?
No, I echo your sentiments, bro. He's an idiot, no question about it. I don't mean to say it like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not out here name calling cats, but at the end of the day, like Donald said, he's a simpleton, bro. No question about it. Like, for you to do that, number one, I blame Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen should have done was, when that happened, he should have ran on that field, or when Jameis Winston got back to the sideline, I'd have been barking on him and everybody else who was in that formation, and let them know, at least show the Falcons and Arthur Smith that this was something that was unacceptable, to at least let them know. Now, whether Arthur Smith would have believed it or not, that's something different. But as a head coach, to be undermined like that and allow that to be, because you would have never said anything about that if Arthur Smith didn't make a big deal of it at the center of the field during the congratulatory part of the game ending like that. So you allowed that to happen. You let this man undermine your authority. You sent that play in, and that's the play you put in. And then all of a sudden, they make a decision led by Winston to go ahead and punch the ball in for a touchdown when you are already in victory formation. That is unacceptable. No question about it. And so again, Winston, it just goes to show you that this is why he doesn't get the burn. They could have been playing Winston after Carr got hurt. Could have been done it. Didn't do it.
And he probably would have gave him a better shot. He probably would have gave him a better shot.
Exactly.
He got an arm. He got an arm.
He could throw the football. You know what I'm saying? He could throw it all over the yard. I mean, look. And Brady took that same team, the same weapons, and ended up winning the Super Bowl with them. Right? So clearly, he was the difference. Brady, that is, over what they had in Winston. So, like I said, the problem is that when you see stuff like that and a player like that, and I think what may happen in the next day or so, Winston may come out and say he apologizes to the team and apologized to the coach and apologized to the fans.
He apologized to DA.
Yeah, but it's not. But it's gonna be a little something more, probably more scripted, something to the team's liking that'll kind of take them out of some hot water to make them look accountable and taking action against what Winston did. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah, he did, James. He came out swinging almost, bro. He looked like he was ready to. He went in. The man's like, he knew he's losing the job, but then by the time he got to the locker room, that announcement was already probably made. I don't even think he even rolled back with the team. Okay,
but it was
already knew he was losing the job.
So to Jameis Winston's point, they had an interception and brought it all the way back to the 1 yard line. Right. So now, the only thing that would change my mind about it, I don't think it's any. I think it's no harm, no foul. I don't take it as personal. The only thing that would change my mind is if it was incentive based. If the running back needed a touchdown, which I'm not sure about, but having one touchdown, I'm sure there's no incentive
to just
have
reward their guy, let him make him feel good to get in the end zone based upon what Winston is more or less saying. You know what I'm saying? Somebody worked hard, and he's been working hard all year. So let's go ahead and get it. First of all, that ain't your decision to make, bro. You know what I'm saying? You third string. You ain't even that dude. Like, you don't get to decide who should be rewarded for their hard work. You know what I'm trying to say? Because you ain't working hard. So how somebody who ain't working hard, they don't even get any field time, no play time. Now you want to say, well, we're gonna reward him and let him get in the end zone. That don't make any sense. And I feel like if you are in
Jameis
formation,
I think he heard the same thing. And just his line of answers seems like someone said that to him and he was repeating it as a jab. Like, yeah, it was the team decision. We made a decision as a team. And so it seems to me that Jameis Winston didn't get a fair shot and a fair shake as an opportunity. Now, say whatever you want. We want to chat. Sam Darnold is potentially going to get signed. They let him showcase his talent. Carson Wentz.
Did he play well yesterday? The numbers are a little average, mediocre.
Well, do I think watching how Sam Darnold moved the ball down the field, do I think he could have done that the entire game? Absolutely. But that wouldn't have ended in the fact of allowing the teams to fall and lose and fall into the slots that they could. Do I think Sam Darnold could have had that offense moving and ultimately win against the Rams? Absolutely. That game, they didn't push to win that game. And I'm not saying that because I don't think the Niners lost.
No, yeah. I believe you telling the truth. No cap on that. I think you're right. I don't think they played to win. It was more of an evaluation game. That was a preseason evaluation game.
But they gave players opportunities to showcase their talent.
Right.
And, at that point, you could have, when the game got out of hand, you could have put him in at that point, right?
Yeah, you could.
Because I think I'm not sure if they already knew that they were eliminated or they needed a team to lose so they could get in. But if you're up by, double digits or 2 scores, why not put Jameis Winston in? Why not allow him to, for a potential team next year or so, showcase his talent, show that he can run on offense?
Right.
So, you know.
No, I agree.
Sam Darnold, when we were looking for a backup, going in and having Purdy and all of that stuff, I mentioned, hey, maybe Jameis Winston wouldn't be bad. I'm glad, ultimately we got Sam Darnold. I'm glad it didn't go that way. But the kind of offense that we run, can we hone on some of his skills and his big arm? Yeah, I think so. I think we could have. I think Shanahan would have been able to make it work.
Yeah. I mean, you trust him in a Shanahan system. Yeah, you think it could have. It probably would have worked. Right. I mean, because he wasn't going to be a starter. Now, if he's a starter, that's a headache. But
he was only
as a backup, he was going to be a backup.
While we were waiting for Purdy to get right, and he was only going to be, make sure Purdy was good going into the start of the season and all of that stuff. If we needed to scoop somebody up who could, manage the offense, then I wasn't against him, But long story short, it is what it is.
I mean, look, you're in a 49er offense. Look, right? You're only gonna make it's it's the intermediary routes, crosses. You got Kittles coming across the middle. He's gonna eat, him in the middle of the field. Ayuk a little bit over the top, a little bit there. And then you just got those screens to Debo and CMC and just hand the ball off. So it's a very simple offense in that sense where you're not having to really quarterback like that. You know what I'm trying to say? So Winston would have worked. No, I mean, no shade, but I'm just trying to say, no shade. I'm just saying, but Shanahan has set up a system where your quarterback doesn't have to quarterback. Like Purdy doesn't have to be Josh Allen or Mahomes. He doesn't have to be Lamar. It doesn't have to be, you have to be Dak Prescott. Dallas is going to live and die with Prescott. It's on his arm.
So whoa. We were just about to wrap the show, and we were just going to end on a good note and just. You're saying the 49ers offense is an easy, simple offense?
No, it's not easy, simple. I'm talking about the quarterback play. In other words, the quarterback doesn't have to do a whole lot. The quarterback can make certain throws in this offense, because what does Shanahan want to do? Get the ball to the skilled players. So what does Shanahan do to get the ball to the players?
Every offense is set up to do that.
But the way he schemes it, he schemes his skilled players and puts them in the best position to make getting the ball to them a lot easier, where not every team does it the same way as Shanahan. Some teams are going to rely on the skill set of that quarterback to be able to make that throw, be able to get the ball to their skill players differently. The way
so you're saying Dak Prescott is he's a complex quarterback that is able to.
It's not about complexity. It's about the skill set. I do think Dak Prescott is a better quarterback because I think he's a better quarterback than Purdy in the sense of other kinds of skills and being able to have to carry a team on his shoulders. Now, does Dak rise to the occasion when the lights are bright? No, not all the time, right? But nevertheless, he still has to quarterback the team. He has to find ways also to get guys open. But when you have Shanahan, who's very good at what he does, and again, I'm not throwing shade on Purdy. Purdy is definitely the guy that fits Shanahan the way Shanahan needs him to fit. Garoppolo couldn't do it. These other guys couldn't do it. Trey couldn't do it, obviously. All I'm saying is that certain throws, that's all. If you got to make certain kinds of throws, just get it to the playmakers, and then you can do it. Because here's the thing. Dallas don't have anybody they can throw a 5-yard or a little small hitch or a screenplay to and let these guys just run. Shanahan understands he got guys that are yakking all day. That's all I'm saying. Simple playbook on the offense. Is there a reason you don't use pre-snap motions? No, we use pre-snap motion now. Now that all that's changed since 42. When we got 42 against the Niners, guys is doing cartwheels now. Pollard, we got Turpin running now. He's doing push-ups in the backfield and running circles on the formation. Like we changed all that there, James. We got pre-motion.
They'll have their day.
Listen. It's
They'll
all
have
good.
their day.
I'm not. All I'm saying is that
no. We're gonna see about simple. We're gonna see about simple offense.
No, it's not but I never said a simple offense. I said all he has to do is get the ball into the playmakers' hands and let them do what they do. Now,
it's a simple quarterback or a simple offense?
No, it's not a simple offense. It's a quarterback that doesn't have to do a lot within the scheme of the offense. I'm talking about the quarterback play.
Don't walk it
I'm
back.
not talking about the rest of the guys.
Purdy's watching. 52. We putting up 52 next time.
Yeah.
52 against you guys.
Hey, as long as it's in the NFC Championship, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? As long as we there. That's it. One step at a time. We'll go for the Super Bowl next year. Look, D, I keep trying to tell you, you still don't believe my heart when I tell you this. D, listen. Do I believe Dallas can beat the 49ers?
You don't want to beat us?
And of course I want to beat y'all. Of course. But if we lose in the NFC Championship game, at least I could say we've made some progress. We've gotten over the hump with certain kinds of things that we needed to get over. Think of it like this, D. All right? The Celtics were stopping Detroit. After a while, Detroit finally climbed the mountain. They stopped Chicago. The Bulls finally climbed the mountain. The Lakers couldn't get past the Spurs in the 2000s. Finally, they was able, when they brought in Phil, they got over the mountain. There's always somebody there. And what did I tell you, D? There's only one team that stands in the way of the Dallas Cowboys representing the NFC in the Super Bowl and even winning the Super Bowl as far as I'm concerned. And that's the San Francisco 49ers. We beat y'all like we did in 92 and win that game. Let me tell you something, in which was the old Candlestick Park. We win that game, D. That's our Super Bowl. I don't care what happens. We win it because the 49ers, and I said this to you before the season started, D. What did I tell you? I've been consistent all year long. I wasn't worried about the Eagles. I told you about them Eagles. I said they're not the team that everybody thinks they are. They're not. They are who we knew they said they are. Whatever my man, the late Dennis Green said, they are who we knew or said they are. Whatever, however he quoted that. That's what the Eagles were. And everybody goes, say, Niners, Eagles, Dallas here. Some people even put Detroit ahead of us, right? I'm trying to hear that. It was always Dallas as the second best team. The only team that really is in the way of that would give the 49ers any real competition. If you look at the playoff teams in the NFC, it's the Cowboys. Cowboys get to the NFC Championship and have to play Levi Stadium. Do I think we're better than the 49ers? No. Do I think we will win the game? No. Do I want Dallas to win the game? Of course I do. Of course I want Dallas to win the game.
Will you pick them to?
I do think we can win. If I'm objective on a sports show, I can't pick them to win. I can't. Not on a sports show. Maybe in the barbershop, but not on a sports show. I can't do it.
In a text message, we'll text.
Yeah, in a text message, I'll talk junk to you and say, you know what I'm saying? You know. Now, if we win, I'm gonna be excited. I'm gonna try to talk as much smack as I can because we beat a better team. We beat a team that should have beaten us. No question. If we win that game. But a healthy 49er team, D, nobody's beating a healthy 49er team other than the Ravens, who's proven it so far. And that has to be seen again in the Super Bowl if that's the case. Because if you remember, Lamar wasn't even really playing at full strength, son. I think he was just kind of chilling in that game. He wasn't even at full strength. So that's going to be a really good Super Bowl if that should be the matchup again. But like I said before, I ain't worried about no Eagles. I ain't worried about no Packers. I ain't worried about no Lions. I ain't worried about no Rams. I ain't worried about no Detroit. There's only one team that the Cowboys have to play and win, and that is and beat, and that's the San Francisco 49ers. That's it. It is what it is, bro. And I'm I'm standing 10 toes down on that. I'm standing on business when I make that take because that's what it is, bro. You know what I'm saying? Ravens were fairly fresh off a bye. Nah, come on, James. Now, Donald, I'm gonna let you handle James right there. Come on.
James, we don't do excuses, okay. James.
All right, there we go. There we go. Excuses. Come on. All right.
Now you have seen teams make excuses, right? And if I'm honest, on this show, you have seen people make excuses. You've seen Rod make excuses for the Cowboys. You've seen Corey make excuses for Miami. You've seen Scrap make excuses for the Eagles. But the buck stops here. We don't make excuses for the Niners. When the Niners lose, they lose. Yeah. But when it matters, i.e., when we had a fully intact team and played the Eagles again, there was no excuses. All of that trash talk prior and we just crying and we whining about losing in the NFC Championship game. That was settled and resolved.
Yeah.
So we don't make excuses, but
it was.
James, certainly as I'm here today, feel confident that when we see the Ravens again, we are going to
It'll be a better game.
Them. No. We're going to annihilate.
D, you think you're going to annihilate the Ravens?
If we are healthy, we are going to annihilate them.
Y'all were healthy 3 weeks ago too. What happened?
We're going to annihilate them.
And you was at home. I'm saying, Come on, D. D, you think you're going to annihilate the Ravens again? Now it's going to be a closer
Every time
game.
We had this
closer
discussion.
Game.
We had this discussion, and I was saying with the same confidence, the Niners are going to destroy Philly. Well, D, I don't know about D. You going to destroy them, D? You going to destroy them? I said we were going to blow them out was my exact terms. Yeah. And it wasn't going to even be close. We were going to win by double digits, multiple scores, and we beat them 42-19.
Okay.
If we're healthy and we play the Ravens, what's today's date? January 8th. So less than a month away. We will blow the Ravens out.
D. Now, D, listen.
Book
y'all
it.
Both, you and the Eagles came into that.
The Eagles were 10-1.
The Eagles were not a real, if we can be honest, and it's already been proven, right? We already seen who the Eagles are in these last 6 weeks. Okay. The Eagles are who we knew and thought they were, right? Every 10-1 team, I've been saying it was not created equal. Y'all were definitely the real 10-1 team, not the Eagles. And it's been proven. But you can't say that that's the Ravens, bro. The Ravens are who they are, and they're legit. They're not frauds like Miami. They're not frauds like Dallas, who's beating up bad teams and can't win on the road. No, D. The Ravens are legit, bro. That's a legit team. All right.
January 8th.
That's y'all not gonna. I don't think you're gonna blow that D.
Blow out.
If they're healthy, if they stay healthy. They had starters in the game yesterday too.
Lamar Jackson
I don't know why he was out
just have come from getting his plaits done. Fresh braids. Blowout.
D.
We're going to blow. Thank you, James.
I don't know.
James
understands. 14. Oh my God.
Yes.
D.
Yes.
D. That's not going to be D. Man, come on. D.
Okay.
D. Look. All right. Let me listen back. D. Can I just dial it back a little? D. It's your world. Number 1 seed. Clearly heads and shoulders above everybody in the NFC.
No. Just answer this for me. Just answer this.
Yeah.
Who was able to get the song in one take? No, I'm just joking. That was no. But let me ask you this: when the Jaguars looked unbeatable, and I said we were going to blow them out, what did we do?
Y'all did that, but the Jags aren't the
When
Ravens.
when I said that the Cowboys were going to get blown out, what did we?
I don't know if you said we would get blown out though. I don't know. I don't recall you saying.
Okay.
You might have. I
Watch
just don't recall you saying.
I'll clip it.
Okay. All right.
I said that we were going to blow.
But it happened. But it did happen. Nevertheless, it happened.
When I said that we were going to blow the Eagles out. What happened?
Yeah, you did it.
Okay.
But D, those aren't those teams.
And I didn't say in the regular season when we played them, I wasn't sure about it. Because if you remember on one of the shows, I said we were supposed to be favored for the rest of our games. And you asked me 2 games in particular.
James.
And I said the Ravens game could go one way or the other. Right? And we lost that game. And they handed it to us.
Yeah.
No excuses.
Right.
We see them again.
Right.
We are going to blow. And
D.
if we're healthy.
Why are you so confident that you're going to beat a team that blew you out and both teams are healthy in your building, by the way? What gives you that confidence that you'll blow them out in the Super Bowl, nevertheless, when everything is on the line?
That's called the tease. We got to have, there's shows we got to have between now and then. And I'll explain why I think.
Yeah, that's a hot take. That's a real strong take.
Blow them out.
Wow.
I'm not talking about close. I'm talking about James
really?
On the same page.
You think you're gonna blow it? You're gonna blow it? If y'all meet the Ravens in the Super Bowl, y'all gonna blow the Ravens out?
2 touchdowns.
D.
2 touchdowns.
D.
Okay.
Well, I said dial it back. James said, okay, instead of 14 points, it'll be 13. James, you and D are wildin'. I'm telling y'all.
Blowout.
Listen, let me sing Brooklyn Bears and Ball, y'all. Y'all better make sure y'all watch. Let me tell you right now what's popping in Brooklyn Bears and Ball. It's D and the 49ers. If the Niners don't win the Super Bowl, boys and girls, gentlemen and ladies, let me tell y'all, okay, it's going to be a long off season for Mr. Cornelius. Everything this is going to be it. It's going to be all the Brooklyn Bears and Ball right now. All lights, camera, action, spotlight, and full attention is on Mr. Don. If the Niners don't win the Super Bowl.
See, this is why I don't want to accept this your world. Because you're not you
just said you made a bold take and said y'all gonna
your words say one thing, but your heart is far from it. I don't trust anything. That's why when you say, because you're looking for us.
But it is your world. Listen, when I say the Niners are the best team in the NFC, that's what I truly mean. I'm a realist. Okay. I'm telling you, I'm a realist.
So
I want the Cowboys to win.
This
is the best good shot for us.
If we face the Ravens again, and we're healthy, we're gonna blow them out.
Because D, you've had an opportunity to play them close, and you didn't. And your team, I mean, from the first snap of the game, y'all stood no chance in that game. The Ravens manhandled y'all in every facet of that game. Y'all looked bad in that game. Now, does that mean y'all a bad team? Of course not. And nobody's even tripping over that loss. That's the crazy part. Y'all got blown out by Baltimore, but nobody is tripping over that. Why? Because at the end of the day, the Niners, they know, are a very good team. And nobody expects that to happen in the Super Bowl if y'all to meet the Ravens. Ravens are not going to blow y'all out again. I don't believe that, and nobody else in the world believes that. It's going to be a very much closer game. Shanahan is not going to allow that to happen again. Trust me, the players are not going to allow that to happen again. Trust me, y'all going to be much more prepared.
They beat us 33-19, right? They beat us 33-19.
33-19. And that last touchdown with Darnold was, you don't count that, D. Don't count that. So
I mean, it was the final
score. It
was
really 33-11 or whatever you want to call it.
Okay, but it was whatever, 33-19, right? Was the final score?
That was the final. Yeah, I believe that's what it was. Yeah.
What was the final of the Eagles when they played us in the NFC Championship game? Was it 33-19?
Yeah, I believe that's what it was. I can't recall. Yeah.
If you can look that up real quick as we close the show.
Let me see. What was that, 2022? Let's see here.
No, that would have been 2023.
So y'all beat y'all. That game came. It was 31-7. 31-7.
Okay.
31-7.
Cool. All right.
31-7. Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
Blowout.
And like James said, do I have to put y'all back on the couch for another year? Y'all beat us twice. Y'all eliminated us 2 years in a row in the playoffs, right? So right now, 2 years in a row, playoff elimination, a bad blowout loss in the regular season game.
So 3 games in a row. 3 games
in a row. That's it. So the only team that stands in our way
Rock Purdy
is the 49. That's it. Brock Purdy's 3-0. No, well, he's 2. Well, no, he didn't play that first game. Garoppolo was 2-0. Yeah,
and he's going to be 3-0 this season. He'll be 3-0.
Right now, I can't say otherwise. I mean, y'all, but I'm listen. Dallas, I'll tell you what though. Here's what I am gonna promise you. Y'all ain't gonna blow us out in the championship game. Though. That's not gonna happen. Dallas is definitely gonna put up a better effort. No question. That team y'all beat is not the same team that you will see should we get to the championship game. Just want to let you know that. Okay? I'm letting you know now, D. They were not the same team. So that's all I want to let you know. It ain't going to be no blowouts, James. Don't even. It's not going to happen. Yeah, thanks for the score on that too, James. Thank you. Thank you, James. Shout out to James for being a statistician who's fair. You know what I'm saying? Not stat patting his research to favor the 49ers. You know what I'm saying? But nah, it's all good, man. It's all good. But man, America, did y'all hear what he said? He said they're gonna blow the Ravens out. We got to get Scrap in here, man. When we get Scrap and Corey back on, and maybe we'll talk about it a little bit more. We'll get their response on that.
All of the teams that are dearly departed, we'll get them all together. I mean, by the end of this weekend, I mean, Miami could be out of it. The Eagles could be out of it.
Yeah, you're right. Why is the Eagles on Monday night? I don't understand that. What are we doing? What are we doing?
What that should be? What you feel some type of way that you should be on a primetime game?
Honestly, yeah, I do. I felt we should either been on primetime or a Sunday night game. That's how I felt. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Man.
I mean, it's right. So, we are who we are. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we should have been. I can't believe they gave the Eagles and Bucks on a Monday night. That's the least competitive game. Well, maybe Dallas and Green Bay, but I'm saying it's I don't know.
I think it might have something to do with rest. They gotta give them X amount of rest for travel. I don't know. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe so. Perhaps. I don't know. I mean, if they didn't travel far, the Eagles, that is. They was in New Jersey for all intents and purposes. Philly's right up the turnpike. So, I mean.
But when did they play, though?
That game was, when did they play? The Eagles, that was a 4:00 game on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Dallas played at 4:00 on Sunday. We'll play 4:00 again on Sunday again. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, it is what it is. It's cool. It's cool.
Just win. You see, you worried about the wrong stuff. Just win the game.
Yeah, we will. I'm not worried about it. No, we will beat Green Bay. We will preview it.
That's the problem.
What?
You more concerned about the showcase. When they're gonna show us? Where we at? Where we at? Instead of winning the game, win the game. Before we wrap,
I'm doing that. Yeah, before we
Michigan and Washington plays tonight.
Yep.
Michigan is a 6-point favorite. Over/under is 56.5. Who do you have, and what's the score?
Oh God! Ooh, excuse me. I'm sorry, sir. I got Michigan. It's gonna be what was the over/under on that again?
56.5.
56.5. So what is that, about maybe 25 to 30 points apiece? I don't care what anybody say. I don't think there's no such thing as a good college defense. Defenses in college are that's illusional to me. So I'm going to say, even with Alabama for all the years that they had good defenses, but I don't care. Georgia too. 49-43.
Who?
Michigan.
49-43.
Cheese board out and show some love. Good analogy and play on words there, James. I like that. That's good. Okay,
49-43.
That cheese ain't gonna taste good though. It's gonna be stale.
I don't think it's gonna.
Cheese. Go ahead. That's good, James.
This is interesting. This is a really interesting game. I think I'm going with Washington. think I'm going with Washington.
I love their quarterback. I love their
for
quarterback.
the upset.
Yeah, really. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Reason I'm saying this is because if this is my opinion, if Michigan wins, they won't cover. The 6 points will not be covered. But I think there is a distinct chance that Washington wins, and I think that Jim Harbaugh is going to the NFL. So
he's definitely.
He's already elevated Michigan.
So why do you think they'll lose because of that, though? Why would Michigan lose because of that?
Well, I think from a standpoint, Penix is that dude. I think he's able. I think their wide receivers. Michigan has a really great defense, but I think Washington's receivers are next level. They don't drop the ball. They can catch contested catches, double team. They have great hands. Penix is talk about accuracy and pinpoint precision. He has it. So I'm going with Washington. 35-31 Washington.
35-31 Washington.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. That'll work. Well,
good show.
Good show as always, D. No doubt.
Shout outs to Kingdom Creative for the production. Shout outs to Infinite Audio for the music.
IA is in the building.
Once again, everyone, thank you for joining us. James, much love to you, James. Scrap,
thank you, James.
Everyone. Corey.
Scrap, Corey. Yeah.
Thanks,
James,
for joining. Once again, like, share, subscribe to our Facebook, YouTube page. And YouTube, click the notification so you get every time we put out content, you get it. We appreciate it. It's going to be a great postseason.
Yeah,
and,
it is.
We're going to see.
It's going to be good.
The Super Bowl is a little over a month, and it's going to be some exciting football. Man, the season flew by. This NFL season
went by fast. It
flew by.
It did.
But I think it's going to be really exciting going down the line. But until next time, thanks for joining us, everyone. We appreciate it.
We do.
Peace.
Peace.